1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. We're about to start this live stream. Even though I'm starting to stream very late at this time, it is what it is. Let's check the prices. Let's get right into action so I can get some proper sleep. Again, been pretty bad for the markets. But when others are fearful, you need to stay strong. So remember, that is another factor that a lot of people forget. Ooh. Let's check what's going on here. Ooh. 312. Now that's quite a pleasant drop, isn't it? It's quite a big drop. Is it too scary? No. Because, again, seeing this type of market go from here, from 360 to 312 is still, above $3. But I am worried, and here's where I am worried, is if it drops below $3, it could potentially go in a free fall. This is the issue. Right now, it's struggling to keep basic, momentum. It's trying to break support barriers, and it cannot keep that. Look, see? I literally open a trade and I'm down 1% because it's struggling to, it's like going down in that way like it has never seen before. It's very fast to actually drop more. So yeah, it does seem like bearish momentum is starting. Look at this. Wants to nearly liquidate me, 1.68%, see? So again, see, I got liquidated. Because the bearish momentum, look, it's destroying that candle, right? It's trying to push back up. So yeah, not looking good right now for XRP. But I am still bearish. I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish based on the news we have right now. So there are still positive features that could save it. So what could save it right now is if it can hold for 1 week above $3. Or let's say $2.90, just in case some worst case scenario happens again, historically, crypto has been dropping during these times. Back to $2. So yeah. Let's check here. Pin message. Look, the price keeps going down. It's ripping off the charts. It's ripping off the charts, but here's where we can open like a long. Go 1 per 39. And the top is going to be 3.5, right? So you take the profits when nobody else wants to. And I feel like I'm 3%. I can cash out that. See, immediately, like the markets move so fast it can't even, hold in that barrier. Hello, Nelson. So yeah, right now, I am still bullish that it will go back up. But yeah, it needs to see the big update right now for XRP would be, just recovering from this level. Because right now, it's the whales are selling, people are panicking, right? And when you panic, that's when you start to sell. And that's what people are doing. People are seeing everybody selling. So why shouldn't I sell? And it creates basically a spiral effect of people dumping their XRP. But Trump just visited the Fed today. And the July 30th meeting could be the next big thing that actually saves XRP. So I am definitely very excited for that because the July meeting is what everybody was waiting, right? So that's the big news. Like literally everything, they're trying to short it. I'm trying to keep going long. But literally the scenario right now, it keeps wanting to go down. So I guess I will just have to open a short here. Literally, Trump, every time something happens, like right now the markets are just going insane. Just to show you this example. Look at that. Literally dumping very high. Minus 1%. It doesn't know when to stop even. So it is absolutely unbelievable. But we are going to be checking some videos on what exactly is happening with XRP. Look, I just got liquidated. The markets today are too crazy. It's like an ocean waves. But I am still feeling very bullish on where we're gonna go next. XRP urgent warning. So let's see the urgent warning.
Co-founder is selling his tokens. Is XRP going to...
Yeah, so this is what I saw. The XRP co-founder selling $50 million. Now, this is kind of scary. It is kind of scary, you know, but Trump could save XRP. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Appreciate you all guys coming on. But yeah, not 50 million XRP. $150 million is now going out for, you know, to an exchange from the XRP co-founder.
To go lower. This is an emergency XRP video.
We need an emergency XRP meeting at this point.
Something is taking place in the charts that is going absolutely insane. It's kind of crazy. It's unexplainable, but we need to talk about it and where we...
Why did he decide to sell right now, and why are the prices crashing so hard? $150 million is a lot of buckaroos. A lot of money, 150 million, that is. So he decided to sell that XRP, and people are asking for explanation. Why did he sell? Because if you check Twitter, it is that the co-founder of XRP sold 150 million and the price went down, right? Because this is very bearish if co-founder sells. Sometimes it's normal if people need to sell. So that's where I'm, you know, kind of worried in that sense that XRP could be going down further if people lose that momentum. You know, but it was just moved in an exchange. So again, I'm not too scared of that. I'm not too scared. Some people are very scared. Coinboro posted this, right? Coinboro reports has said, you know, 50 million XRP. Now, a lot of buckaroos moved. And why exactly did he do that? Well, sometimes it's for partnership. Sometimes, you know, they want to cash out at this time. Maybe they feel like they can't cash out for another 3 months.
He could potentially go as a result. So make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up and stick around to the end of this video. You cannot miss what I have in store for you guys today. So look at this. So XRP has gone down about 20%, and the Ripple co-founder sells 175 million XRP.
I feel like he had a lot of XRP on standpoint and he would have sold it at some point. Like 175 million is a lot of money to a lot, you know, to anyone in this world. So if he had, you know, 175 million, he probably has more than that. It's basically like Amazon CEO cashing out. Not everything, but maybe he's cashing out half of everything, right? Saying, okay, this is gonna like be enough for my future.
Tokens.
Larson retains 2.8 billion XRP. So this is just a very small majority that he could be selling. From Ripple's 2012 pre-mine, highlighting ongoing tensions between major holders' actions and XRP's institutional adoption. Again, you know, people don't like if CEOs sell, but it's their tokens. You know, when they bought these tokens, this is what they accepted that, basically.
This is bullish. The dev is essentially selling. So weak hands are leaving XRP.
The issue is he sold 50 million and there's 2.7 billion, or there's multiple billions to sell. But once that is sold out, this could be bullish, yes. Because basically money gets rotated. And I feel like most people have to realize is this is happening without most people realizing that so much gets sold and the price still stays on top. So we are going to be seeing probably that much more.
And this means it's being transferred to stronger hands, people that believe in it and are more bullish in the long term. This
means billions need to be bought as well. So
looking to
smash that like button as well.
But he is selling, in my opinion, too early. So we have big whales selling. The prices are going down. The market's looking absolutely insane right now. We need to talk about that. And what's going on? Altcoins are crashing, but Bitcoin is still holding, not moving. What is the purpose for that? Well, there's so much institutional demand coming into to Bitcoin right now with these ETFs.
Institutions are still coming in, and like 2.8 billion XRP, that's what, $10 billion could be bought pretty much very fast if this passes through.
There's a lot of capital flowing into Bitcoin. And just hours ago, we had $2 billion in Tether printed, which normally when you see that around 24 to 48 hours after, sometimes sooner, Bitcoin starts pumping massively, and obviously altcoins follow. So we could get a massive pump here very soon. Also, we do have Trump's tariffs. In the beginning of next week, at some point next week, we are going to have a new month. We're going to be in the month of August. And
yeah, so that is when the big meeting still is coming, and that's what I'm really excited about. This is the big news that I've been, clickbaiting on my thumbnails, that I've been talking about. The 31st, because right now, I'm going to show you this clip on what exactly happened with Donald Trump meeting up for the XRP. Like, he's not happy with the Fed.
And in the month of August, these tariffs, if these countries have not come to a deal with the United States, are going to go live. And that's going to put some crazy pressure on the markets, probably going to cause a lot of volatility. And that means when there is a lot of
there's still 0.02% of people own XRP. So there could be a major like uprise of people owning XRP.
Volatility, uncertainty, we could see a sell-off, another sell-off. But that's going to be very bullish for us. This guy is calling for a $2,000 XRP.
Now, $2,000 is going to be very hard to reach. Again, $2,000. If we cannot break past $4, how are we going to reach $2,000? It doesn't make any sense, we have to be realistic. This channel is all about realism. But you and I will be priced out moving forward. Whatever you have in your bag is what you have. So literally multi-millionaires will be billionaires, and billionaires holding XRP will be trillionaires. This is why this price, like $2,000, is unrealistic.
By the start of 2026, this guy could be right, or is he crazy? Let me know what you guys think about $2,000.
I don't think he's right. Again, this would mean it would have more market cap than Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen.
Per XRP coin by 2026. I personally don't see it happening, but it could happen if they do the flip of the switch, which could take place. Ripple is essentially going to be processing, depending on their,
this will take time. Like for it to get accepted by the banks, again, this will take lots of time. It won't be instant. It's just not like from day to night, right? And when you do quadrillions of payments, you start with slow movements, and then you can actually move XRP $10. New bank partnership, $20, $30. Guys, $2,000 overnight is going to be incredibly hard.
Partners and who they end up doing business with. And a lot of these banks start using RLUSD, which they are, and they start using XRP. Trillions of dollars can come into the Ripple network, and that's going to trigger a crazy price surge for XRP. Now, make sure, if you guys want to follow the most profitable crypto trades on the internet, join my WAP right now. We are no longer on Patreon. We have now moved to
That's nice.
The majority. And if we take a look,
I love his price predictions though. Like XRP back to $2, it is a realistic scenario, but to go back to $2, we are gonna need to see like a major price crash, basically.
So if Bitcoin ends up pulling back here, which is probably likely, altcoins are probably going to end up seeing another low, but that low might be the bottom. So there's still a lot of sellers in the market, and it doesn't look like they've run out of coins yet. Doesn't look like a bottom. Earlier today, we started bouncing, and that was looking like a bottom.
So yeah, it does seem like everybody thought it's going to go back up, but it seems that it will reach under $3. I feel like it can even go further, 2.7, because it went so up. It went so much up, and now like the whales are selling again. The whales are realizing 2.7, but I don't feel like it's going to go back to $2 because if it went back to $2, guess what? Everyone here at $3 would have already sold. Like we would be seeing much more time needed to get back to $3, right? But we are already almost at $4. So if you get me, it's actually a very bullish momentum.
After we bottom, we are probably going to end up pumping to new highs and maybe new all-time highs around $4.20. I think we could see that by next week, and that could be a really good opportunity to take profits because if these tariffs start kicking in, they're going to flood the market and it's going to cause volatility.
The tariffs are not that big of a problem. The biggest issue is the crypto bill. It needs to pass the Senate. If it does not pass the Senate, guess what? Big problem. But talking about politics, we do have another news today. Look at what happened with the big news for Donald Trump. Again, I couldn't live stream this, so smash that like because I was still feeling kind of tired from everything, but I wanted to live stream this Trump visiting the Fed building and complaining about the prices. So let's see if he wants to remove them and how this will affect the XRP price. And personally, I think if he cannot, remove Jerome Powell, but if he or Jerome Powell leaves for some reason, he's already under pressure. Again, he's going to replace with someone who's going to cut those rates, and it's going to pump the altcoin market. I don't know if it's going to pump Bitcoin market, but historically, it has pumped altcoin market. Is XRP better or is the next Bitcoin? I feel like I replied to that. XRP is good in terms of technology, but Bitcoin will always be number one. I don't think anything will flip Bitcoin ever. So yeah, I never saw like Jerome Powell and Trump in a hat. Like this is like peak content.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking at the construction, and we're with the chairman, as you know. Chairman, come on over. And we're just taking a look at what's happening. It's a tough construction job. They're building basements where they didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons I wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses, wanted to figure out why.
Geez, this looks so awkward because he wanted to remove him. Basically said he can't fire him and to lower interest rates, and then you can see this is like a mad dad at him. Oh my God, look at this. This is absolutely incredible. Like we never saw this in history. But this is peak content. You can actually see Jerome Powell being slightly upset or being slightly more serious, and Trump being slightly more, strong, demeaning, basically in a sense. So yeah, seems like the rate hikes, the pressure is on for U.S. to be the #1 crypto government.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot.
He's shaking his head. He is shaking his head that it added 600 million, but he lets him speak.
So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah,
that is some peak content.
it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
Our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
So yeah, they finished the building 5 years ago, and now they're adding it to the build. That's so funny. Like them, fighting on camera, live on TV.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use. But no, we don't. We expect to be finished in 2027. We're well along, as you can see.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not under too much danger. So, any questions?
Mr. President, does the issue give you any?
As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire him.
Do you think this issue, Mr. President, gives you cause to do that?
Well,
So he's literally hinting at firing Jerome Powell because he's managing the project, but he's not the real estate manager. Again, XRP might explode when Jerome Powell is removed. That's why everybody in crypto is calling for XRP to be removed.
I'm here just really with the chairman. He's showing us around, showing us the work. And so I don't want to get that. I don't want to be personal. I just would like to see it get finished. And in many ways, it's too bad it started. But it did start. And it's been under construction for a long time. It's going to be a real long time because it looks like it's got a long way to go.
Yes, sir.
So,
Mr. President, are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than
So yeah, this is the thing. He really wants Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. I know we needed some time to get into this, but again, guys, this is the clue. He is literally talking about it 24/7 because if we get lower interest rates, this is the big news that everybody was waiting for. This is the battle of the century. Lower interest rates, more crypto companies, more jobs, more money coming in. And yeah, there are negatives, of course, but Trump is really pushing to be the #1 crypto hub.
Than that, what can I tell you? The country is doing really well. I just briefed the chairman of the deal with Japan. Japan is putting up $550 billion in order to lower their tariffs a little bit. That way they have a little bit lower tariff. And they also opened their country to free trade, which nobody thought was even a possibility. And
so yeah, Trump is making deals. He's using negotiating power with these tariffs. Of course, they short-term crash the market, but it seems like long-term, it's actually working out for US. And US is becoming like the real super power, especially like dominating crypto, which is going to be the crypto hub. There's trillions that could be coming into crypto market. He's this the AI technology, the tech technology. You know, all these Asian countries actually dominate it right now, but Trump is trying to take it over and build these tech companies in his own country. He knows that's the future. He knows it's like, you know, the new Amazon. And that's the big news we have.
We get a zero tariff in the free trade. We don't pay tariffs, and they're going to pay 15% on everything they send into our country. So it's great. But they put up, as you could call it, seed money. Let's call it seed money. You could call it anything you want, but it's a total of $550 billion. So nobody thought it. But
so yeah, a lot of money coming in. Next up, we have Ripple also partnering with Bank of America. The biggest bank has just gotten a partnership. Have we ever seen that? No, never. And this is where it is really going bullish, in my opinion. How many companies can even do that? I feel like only one, and that's Ripple. Partnering with Bank of America is just next level pump. So here is the big news that we have. Ripple partnering. Again, smash that like button if you haven't already. Really appreciate all your replies. Let's get right into the video.
Bank of America document shows that they are going to be launching a stablecoin. There's a lot of people on X that
Bank of America, just let that sink in. That's billions and billions of transactions, and they're gonna do it on their own ledger. If there's not more any bullish news, I don't know what to tell you, because this is literally what people have been waiting for.
believe that stablecoin will be launched with Ripple's help. Let's go through the information that I'm looking at, as well as give you all of the context between Ripple and Bank of America. Bank of America has been using Ripple's technology, so it would make sense that they would choose them to partner for stablecoins. So here is this document. On July 16, 2025, Brian Monahan confirmed that Bank of America is actively exploring a stablecoin offering. He explained that the bank has done a lot of internal work, but is waiting for clear regulatory standards before launching anything publicly.
Again, yeah, this is the thing I have been talking about. September is the big regulatory clarity. And then we're going to have also the crypto bill before September that Trump has revealed.
Proposed stablecoin would be pegged 1-to-1 with the US dollar. It would likely be backed by liquid assets such as...
So yeah, why should the government make its own stablecoin, or the big banks, if they can just go over to Ripple, which has everything set up? It's going to cost them way less than it cost them, right, to build from scratch, and maybe have an error or issue that's going to cost them thousands of dollars.
Cash or short-term treasuries. The coin could support faster digital payments, including cross-border transactions. Moynihan also stated that Bank of America may not go at it alone. Instead, they are considering partnerships with fintechs and blockchain platforms.
So again, these are just more partnerships for XRP. So that is the huge news we have right now. Seems like more and more are partnering and going, you know, the way ahead to partner with Ripple. Everything is going to be connected. It's going to be like a series of webs coming and getting just stronger.
To help manage the technical and compliance side. So we understand the technical and compliance side. Who is the best choice for Bank of America here? I think we know this, right? We definitely know the answer to this question. I'll give you a second. You got this. All right.
Even if XRP is at $3, it does not scare me. When you look at this news, right? Yes, it is scary that XRP is dropping, but the news I'm making right now is definitely more bullish than you know, the price 50 cents down. we are going from like 50 cents to $3.5 back to 50 cents down. So back to $3, $3.11. So not even like full 50 cents down, I guess. So for me, that's pretty normal. If we just went $3, of course, it's going to go down a bit, right?
Right. Bank of America is one of the largest banks in the world. Its entry into the stablecoin space validates the role of digital currencies in modern finance. More importantly, it signals that stablecoins are becoming part of everyday banking rather than remaining just crypto native.
Yeah, so technology is going to be everywhere, and especially, tracking everything, tracking money. Money right now is very slow to transfer. Again, these companies like to pay a lot of money to be with, the big banks.
Innovation. So, up to this point, stablecoins have been inherently used, to swap in and out of different digital assets in, natively crypto. And so over the years, we have found that stablecoins can be used for international payments, sending money for one place or one side of the world to another very quickly, very cheaply. And so Bank of America plans to take full advantage of that. And I believe they're going to choose Ripple. And I'm going to show you some information right after this that, that lays out.
Yeah, so it definitely seems like right now, these banks, they just want to see partnership or platforms undisclosed. But it's literally like everything is pointing at XRP, right? Bank of America introducing stablecoins. Ripple USD connection thread. Bank of America has documented history with Ripple dating back to 2019. So they needed years to build up this type of partnerships.
Basically saying RLUSD connection thread. Bank of America has documented history with Ripple dating back to 2019 patents mentioning Ripple's distributed ledger technology for interbank settlement. I also threw some information into Perplexity, guys. I got all the connections. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. I verified the document. The document is, of course, it is real and up-to-date industry context. So it is a real document. So I just wanted to make sure that what we are looking at is legitimate. Also, Bank of America and Ripple have established a multi-year partnership.
So yeah, multi-year partnership. It's not just going to be for 1 year, one and done. It is seemingly like that they are partnering on becoming like a long-term player in the biggest banking system.
Relationship here centered on the implementation of RippleNet and XRP for payment and settlement infrastructure, especially for cross-border transactions. Bank of America's interest in blockchain and digital assets is documented by extensive patent filings, historical public statements, and direct membership in RippleNet, a global blockchain payments network reliant on XRP. In 2025, this partnership is evolving with the development of both Bank of America's internal stablecoin plans and the broader industry rollout of Ripple's new USD peg stablecoin RLUSD. All right. RippleNet and XRP integration. So Bank of America already utilizes RippleNet for international transactions, leveraging XRP as a bridge currency to enable rapid, cost-efficient payment.
So yeah, it can already handle 15,000 transactions. Imagine how much, big companies are willing to pay for that. If you literally are late, this is going to be a very big problem for the banks because you cannot send millions and millions of dollars, even like a single day delay. Like there's sometimes not even a same day transfer option.
It's for cross-border payments. They're already using the technology and they have been using the technology for quite some time. This is just kind of solidifying what we already know. Also, on-demand liquidity. Bank of America has applied Ripple's on-demand liquidity solution, settling payments in seconds.
Yeah, so look at this. Cost is a big problem. Usually it sends like, wire transfer fees. Aren't they like $3, $5, whatever they are? Now this will cost less than a penny, so not even a penny, but like a fifth of a penny. And I'm guessing this will get even lower. So if we check here, it's less. It's not even a penny, so it's like 1/50th of a penny, from what I understand. I probably did my math wrong, but a 50th of a penny. So every 50 transactions will cost 1 penny. Again, way bigger upgrade than we saw before. And that's why Bank of America loves Ripple. They love fast transactions.
Reducing costs and supporting corporate clients and logistics and supply chain finance. So usually it's like these new services are given to,
Yeah, like corporations, even though XRP is falling for retail, the thing is, it's still going to go up for most investors.
Global payments. It talks about the, you know, how fast and cheap XRP is to use. We know this. Patent filings. Bank of America has filed over 80 patents.
So again, patents cost a lot of money, and it basically shows you're serious. But citing Ripple's blockchain technology. Now, this is very good, underscoring a commitment to ongoing R&D in this space. So, wow. This is the big news that we have been seeing with Ripple, basically going one and ahead and one and about, basically trying to do one step further and getting prepared for the next wave of investors. Again, these investors will also buy XRP in very large amounts, so that's another thing. You know, 99.9% will probably just be using the Ripple technology without being aware. But there is that 0.1% of potential investors, tech bros, everything like that, that will, you know, do a step further and start buying just because it partnered with a bank. You know, not many cryptos partner with banks.
Citing Ripple's technology. So let me ask you a question. Knowing this piece of information, 80 patents citing Ripple's blockchain technology, does it sound like they're going to use it? Yes, of course they are. They've invested, you know, I don't know how much it is. Let's find out. How much does it cost to get a patent all the way through the process? I mean, they got to have spent a lot of money on this because I'm sure they have like lawyers or somebody submitted these patents. I'm just trying.
Yeah, so I gotta start using Perplexity AI because it basically shows him tons and tons of AI content, makes videos way easier for him, all brainstorming. That is crazy. It basically lists up sources.
Trying to get a good understanding of how much it costs per patent so we can understand how much money has been invested.
Like, these banks have infinite money. That's the thing. They have so much money that they do not care if they spend like 100,000. Sometimes I'm guessing they even spend on patents and end up never using them. So again, it just shows commitment. It doesn't show it will 100% happen, but it definitely means that something is in plan.
Just into this by itself. It might.
Thank you again, guys, for smashing that like button. We're also going to use Perplexity AI because it seems like it really does help.
A few $100s a patent, but you got to think of the attorney fees. So here is the basic. So here you go. Here is how much patents cost. All right, thousands of dollars, maintenance fees, right? A lot of money. Here, utility patents, 10 to 30K. Design patents, 2,000 to 4,000. So they've invested hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars into this partnership already from these patents. So to say that Bank of America spent all this money and all of
so yeah, they're definitely being committed right now. Like, this is a first level of commitment, and then it's actually executing it because they wanna do this before any other banks and potentially get other partnerships. So they're basically rushing it to be the first bank to actually have these transactions. The bank realizes, hey, this might be actually like very important for the future. Maybe everybody will be using Ripple. So everybody will have to use Bank of America's partnership to work with Ripple potentially. And it's a win-win on both sides.
This time to not use the technology. I don't agree with the people that say Sensei Bank of America isn't going to use Ripple or XRP. There's already a vast knowledge base of them doing just that. So why?
That's exactly what they're doing. It takes time. You know, first you do the patents, then you do the technology, and then you can actually get retail in because you got to do a lot of testing, right?
Their stablecoin solutions, like when you start working with a company and that company has proven themselves time and time again to offer you new technology that allows you to not only save money, but speed up transactions globally and give your customers a better overall experience. And then here you go, RLUSD, stablecoin and banking connections. RLUSD's Ripple's stablecoin launched on major exchanges and payment platforms starting December 2024 with full-scale integration in Ripple's payment solutions. RLUSD is fully backed. You know, BNY Mellon is a major custodian for the reserves. Ripple is expanding RLUSD's infrastructure with fintech partners like OpenPay, enable minting, burning, and direct treasury operations for enterprises. RLUSD is designed to operate on both the XRP ledger, Ethereum, targeted broader institutional adoption. As of July 2025, industry sources highlights RLUSD's market cap growth and its use for cross-border payment flows with integration.
So again, stable coins are becoming a real thing. Even if people are saying they're not, they really are, and they're going to be here to stay. And this bank basically sealed the deal for crypto and, you know, everything else becoming strong.
Efforts paralleling Bank of America's move toward a fully digital treasury function. It does talk about the coexistence of XRP and RLUSD. Some people have asked, hey,
so yeah, retail still hasn't realized the power of crypto. You know, they still go on their daily lives. Why would they use crypto? But it's going to be subconscious in their life. So it's not going to be immediate. Again, if you work every single day, you're not going to notice when you send your family like $20. But this is literally what's going to happen. Instead of the payment taking 1, 2, 3 days, it's going to take 1 second, 15 seconds, right? Everything's going to be instant. Some of these banks use it, but it's more like new fintech banks, you know, more like these modern bank, but the old banking system is replaced with the new.
And say, I got an email from somebody recently. I was too sick to reply to them. They asked me, you know, because stablecoins are becoming the new norm for some of these payments, you know, does this make XRP useless? And so that is a great question. I'm glad, you know, people are asking these questions. It's always good to, have.
I feel like XRP is always going to be needed for burns. So this will actually make more money for the XRP, because what if you need XRP to make these transactions, right? Right now, the ledger works on XRP. So the banks will need to buy billions and billions of dollars, or potentially millions, because every transaction will be a single penny, means every second, you know, 15,000 cents. So if we're going to be seeing a major XRP burn. Again, there's going to be 15,000 transactions a second minimum. So 15,000 transactions is going to be 15,000 cents to dollars. So every single second there is going to be, so 15,000 cents is, actually it's going to be less than that, because it's 15,000 transactions x002. So it's 300 cents. So every single second there will be a $1 XRP burned. Again, this is every single second, and this can really add up, right? And that is where XRP, I feel like, will really have potential, because maybe the transactions will stop if they don't pay for these burns. So that is huge. This means like the bank will have to hold millions of XRP, which they have a lot of money anyway, and they will just hold it in a wallet somewhere where it will like process all these transactions.
Questions, ask questions, get answers to your questions, because that's what you're here for, to learn and to grow. And my answer to that would be is you need XRP for every transaction that you send RLUSD on. So RLUSD lives on Ethereum and it lives on the XRP ledger. Any payments on the XRP ledger for RLUSD, they still require XRP as the gas token. So XRP is a great bridge asset, but it's not the perfect asset for every single activity that a bank does. Some of those activities, a stablecoin will be the best use case for that payment. And to have the ability to have Ripple come in to give them the infrastructure,
exactly.
I just want you to understand this. If Ripple can do this for Bank of America, they can do
exactly. It seems like, you know, XRP will be its own thing, and then stable coins will be this own thing. Like the banks won't want to use XRP easily like that.
This for any bank on the planet, right? How big? Hold on. What is? I think bank. How big is Bank of America globally and in the U.S.? Top what? I think they're like top 2 in the U.S.
Yeah, so it's definitely bringing in millions and millions of people to XRP, or basically Ripple technology. This is probably one of the biggest crypto partnerships in history.
Top 3, which would make them, you know, a top bank globally. Let me just see here. I think JP Morgan's in front of them. Citi might be in front of them, but Bank of America is a massive, massive behemoth. And so if Ripple's technology can work for Bank of America, like I said, it could work for any of these other banks. While this is still figuring this bit out here, I did want to show you, right, 83 patents. I did want to show you, Smoke has a bunch of documentation with, you know, PayPal, you know, here's a...
Again, you know, already seeing PayPal partnership, Bank of America, they partner with Swift, but here Ripple is like the real thing, the real deal, you know, like we are seeing Ripple's past success with other banks. literally Thai banks. I think this is SCB is like a Thai bank. So in Asia, and again, UniCredit, these are big banks, but there's also smaller banks between. Once you get like 1, 2, 3 big banks, they're going to start letting other people know about this, and it's going to bring billions of volume.
Connections with Ripple, Bank of America.
That's why I'm really hopeful for, you know, Ripple to reach $5 with news like this.
And here's one of the patents. This is what it actually looks like, right? It says XRP. This is a Bank of America patent. It's XRP right there, Ripple, DLT. You know?
Yeah, so it is getting real.
So like it's already kind of there. Bank of America has $3.35 trillion worth of assets. They're the 6th largest bank in the world in total assets. If Ripple can give solutions to the 6th largest bank in the world, they can give solutions to anybody. This is a huge, huge, huge thing for Ripple and, you know, for the blockchain space. And I think there's going to be other banks and financial institutions that line up after Bank of America to get access to this technology. Remember when I showed you how long it takes these banks to build their own infrastructure? It could take years. Or you could call Ripple and have that they could have you up and running with pretty much any of this stuff within a few months, right? Within a few weeks, if you're really rushing and the technical to upgrade that your infrastructure isn't as complicated, right? Because there's going to be smaller to mid-sized banks that can't afford, you know, millions of dollars to pay for infrastructure updates. They can go to Ripple and Ripple could give them some type of deal to get them set up. And then you also have a bunch of clips from, you know, earlier this year or last year talking about David Shawinski claims Bank of America is doing 100% of its internal transactions on Ripple.
Another one you like is Ripple. You said it.
Yeah, so Ripple being on mainstream is the big thing that I'm seeing right now. Like being on the TV news was way, way harder 5 years, 10 years ago. You would get like a little segment for crypto. Now, all they do is talk about Bitcoin. Where do you hear stocks? You don't hear that anymore.
Is the coin to be looking at right now?
Absolutely.
Why?
Okay, so Ripple actually was the 2nd largest coin prior to the SEC's investigation of them. They did this really weird lawsuit against them, and basically the Ripple's going to be the track that everything's going to be running on in the future. So they created their own stable coin right now.
Okay.
Is this live real? This is live, yeah. What I'm talking right now is live. So yeah, what we are seeing right now is Ripple basically exploding to all new time highs. Again, this might be an old clip, but what I'm really hopeful is if we go here and go bigger.
And Bank of America, like I said, they were doing 100% of their internal transactions. They've got 83 different patents on it, and there's some incredible stuff that's going to be coming out. So.
There's some credible stuff that's going to be coming out. That's an insider telling you on Fox News in January that all of this was going to take place. We played some of these videos when this happened back in January. Can't say that I didn't tell you so, right? This is probably like the 10th or 15th video I've made on the Bank of America and Ripple connections, but it's good for new people getting in that just bought XRP to know this information. All right, guys, I am going to go back to trying to feel better. I've been really sick the last few weeks. Like I've been sick since last Wednesday. So it's been 8 days.
Yeah, so it seems like bullish CEO of Sound Planning Group, David Stryjewski, claims Bank of America is doing 100% of its internal transactions on Ripple, have 83 different patents to do it. So this basically confirms if one patent doesn't work, if someone tries to use a workaround patent, or other banks try to do the same, they are gonna, you know, go ahead and take a different path. So that is the most important factor. It seems like XRP right now is looking very, very bullish. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited because again, we just need one big bank partnership, and after that, we can get, you know, 5 bank partnerships. So here's the deal, though. In order for XRP to really grow, it needs retail investors. And retail investors are probably not going to come out of these partnerships, but this helps the Ripple company, which can indirectly pump XRP. Again, we could be seeing tons of burns and trillions basically being burned. So yeah, I'm really honestly excited for that. So another thing we have, will Ethereum hit 10K in 2025? So yeah, Ethereum is one that has been growing lately. And with the Ethereum treasury, I am more and more excited for what will happen next. So Ethereum has been definitely growing in the past like 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever you want to call it. But right now, is they're going to be like a next cryptocurrency. For example, you know, there is so many rising right now. So why would it be XRP?
$10,000 in 2025. We found something in the charts that Virtual Bacon was the first to point out, and then we're going to see everybody who is building on Ethereum, because once you see what I'm about to show you, you cannot help but be bullish. I'm going to give you my price target for this year. Now, like I said, this analysis is coming from Virtual Bacon, and he just did a long Twitter thread asking, can Ethereum hit 10,000 in 2025? And we're going to look at this chart right here, which is the 20-week simple moving average and the 50-week simple moving average. And then I'm going to show you what I found with the exponential moving average that is going to shock you when it comes to Ethereum. But number one company building on Ethereum, Robinhood. Robinhood is so bullish on Ethereum that they are building their own unique layer.
So another one that's building is BlackRock.
Layer 2 built on top of the Ethereum infrastructure, and this is going to be based off Arbitrum, which is another L2. So a lot of the Arbitrum technology is going to be in Robinhood's chain. Number 2, JP Morgan. JP Morgan, of course, their CEO, Jamie Dimon, famously a Bitcoin skeptic. He's called it a fraud. He said it's for hucksters. He said it's for scam
Yeah, so it seems like everybody's switching like the sides right now.
Artists. But now the big bank he leads is doing a hard 180 on cryptocurrency. They're now allowing their customers to lend against Ethereum as Wall Street starts to warm up to crypto. Number 3, Stripe. Stripe is one of the largest online service providers, and now they have USDC crypto payments. And
so yeah, there's one thing that, you know, Ethereum will always win before XRP is that Ethereum will always be first. That's why BlackRock picked it out. Now, XRP has one advantage with this is that XRP right now is based in USA. So XRP is growing because USA companies are blowing big. They are becoming the next big thing where Ripple and, you know, Ripple is going to have an IPO next year where Ethereum is more decentralized. It's going more on, you know, being around the world. And some countries might not prefer that. Some countries love working with basically their own. And this is the big news that I'm excited about. Could we be seeing, you know, XRP going back to $20, $30? Who knows?
They're using Ethereum as well as an Ethereum layer 2 Polygon. Number 4, BlackRock. And after this list, we're going to go into the charts. BlackRock has an Ethereum ETF. The ticker is ETH. Their Ethereum fund became the 3rd ever ETF to hit $10 billion worth of assets within 1 year. So BlackRock, one of the world's most powerful.
So yeah, BlackRock is literally worth trillions, and that's what it can pump to 10,000. You know, from every single thing they could build and they pick out Ethereum, it makes you question, like, yeah, the transactions are a lot slower, but where are we going to go next on this? Could Ethereum, you know, have only 15 transactions per second and still win?
Powerful companies. Also a very profitable company. Their most profitable ETF in ages is Ethereum. BlackRock's going all in if you look at the inflows. Number 4, Sony. That's right, Sony, the people behind PlayStation. In fact, hit the like button if you're watching on your PlayStation right now. Sony is also launching an Ethereum layer 2 and their ETH layer 2, Sonium. Oh, Sony, Ethereum, Sonium. I get it. Number 5, PayPal. PayPal is going...
So PayPal, I didn't get. Like, PayPal has billions and billions of transactions every single possibly month. And they picked Ethereum. I feel like a lot of these companies now are picking Ethereum, but they might pick up XRP in the future or also other chains. So that is a real possibility that a lot of people don't realize.
To add Ethereum layer 2 Arbitrum support for their stablecoin, the PYUSD. So PayPal launching a stablecoin on Ethereum, that's definitely signs that you're bullish on this ecosystem. And
I feel like they also launched a stablecoin on Ethereum is because it's very hard to launch your own stablecoin on your own chain. So where are you going to launch it? You can't launch it on Bitcoin. Nobody is using stablecoins on the basically ledger of XRP right now. There's very little transactions. So, of course, they're going to pick Ethereum from that point.
PayPal founder and Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel, also very bullish on this. He's going all in on his Ethereum strategy here. Basically, his company Bitmine wants to become the Ethereum version of MicroStrategy. So they're going to use Ethereum to protect themselves from inflation instead of holding US dollars, an Ethereum reserve. Number 6, Visa. That's right, the world's most popular credit card. They're launching a tokenized asset platform, and you guessed it, it's going to be on the Ethereum blockchain. And number 7, MasterCard. So you got the top credit card companies going all in.
So yeah, as we get regulation across, I definitely think XRP and Ethereum could potentially partner up. Again, I think as more retail users come in, these chains will get more and more people. The issue is Ethereum cannot handle right now so many transactions. It handle like 15 a second, and you cannot handle worldwide, right? But with more and more updates, Ethereum will also grow. Ripple can already handle 15,000, but it cannot get that conversion that Ethereum has right now. It cannot get these partnerships that basically Ethereum is doing. Ethereum is doing way more bigger partnerships that are non-banks. So Ripple is getting more partnerships with banks, and Ethereum is getting more partnerships with the big companies.
On Ethereum, MasterCard is working with MetaMask, the main wallet on Ethereum, and they're going to have a blockchain-based debit card. And MasterCard is so all in, they're boosting their crypto division, hiring a bunch of C-suite.
So yeah, they definitely realize that crypto is the next big thing for payments. Like, where do you go? Do you try to get more people from the banks? No, you try to get people from crypto. That's why I feel like that XRP cards are going to be the, future, because everybody will have like XRP for $5-6 per XRP, and they will want to start spending it for food. They will want to start spending it on other stuff without having the bank transfers and all the process of everything. So they'll just like put their card on the payment, and that's it. Make money.
Crypto executives. And number 9, Shopify. Shopify is using USDC payments on Ethereum Layer 2 base.
So yeah, Discover Crypto actually has a lot of good supports here, but every major Ethereum bull run started the same way. Higher lows, 50-week SMA flip support, 20-week curls upwards. The 2,600, 2,900 range is now the new ETH bull market floor. So I feel like right now what we're seeing is just like getting started to bring retail in. Once retail gets in, this is where it could blow up, right?
Would start selling Bitcoin ETFs on Wall Street, igniting another significant crypto rally. In this period, ETH had a huge pump, and it lasted 119 days. ETH would pump $120. ETH would pump 120%. So let's run the numbers and see what is 120% pump 119 days from now. And this gives us, maybe a good indication on where we're going to see some profits start to get taken. And moving over to 119 days, that gives you a $6,600 Ethereum. And that's going to...
Again, this is going to be very hard to just see like a green uptick. Just like you're saying, oh, Ethereum is going to reach, for example, XRP is going to reach $15 without breaking any barriers. For XRP to reach $15, it needs to go through a lot of things. So it needs to go through a big process. And this is where I feel like most people don't notice this crucial mistake, basically. They just think, it will go up, 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 up. It's going to be much harder than that. So look at this. How much it went down, how much it went up. It never was just green candles, because somebody is always going to sell at that point.
Be at the tail end of November. That's going to give you a $6,600 Ethereum, and that's going to be in the middle of November, which a lot of people are predicting is going to be a local top 4 crypto. Crypto tends to peak Q4, the year after a halving year. So when you see people saying ETH can't hit a new all-time high, I just strongly have to disagree. I want to give a big shout out to Virtual Bacon for pointing out those simple moving averages.
I feel like, Crypto Ben is also saying the same. Like, all-time highs for crypto will happen right now. Crypto Ben has been calling for Ethereum to go high. And again, we need more retail investors. This is what this video is missing. If we want to do that, we need more retail investors, and more retail investors will come with Trump's new policy. That will save Ethereum. So yeah, it definitely makes a lot of people very happy if that happens. Could bring more people in. So I am definitely very, very excited on where we are going here.
Hey everyone.
So what would you do if you had $1,000 in crypto? Crypto Ben also made a new video on that. So $1,000, where do we go from here?
We're about to catch something back into the cryptoverse.
So yeah, he's been very, very right on a lot of stuff. And Crypto Ben, or Benjamin Cohen, because, not to confuse with BitBoy, has been bullish on Ethereum going up. And he's actually been bearish. The only thing he missed out on is calling XRP that it will drop because it's very risky, but he was wrong. So he's not right on everything, but he is right on the most of the stuff. And on some little things, he's wrong. So the most important is he's right 90% of the time, which right now you can see that he's looking at the patterns and where we will go from here.
You're investing $1,000 into crypto.
So yeah, I think the days where you can turn $1,000 into, 20,000 in 1 year are gone, but it's still possible to, make 3x, 5x. So we have to stay realistic because the longer crypto exists, the harder it is going to be to make these massive gains, especially if you're not buying these new type of tokens. But then again, like so many coins are coming in, I never expected XRP to go from 50 cents to $3.5.
So if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the sale on Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we do this video about every 6 months, right? There's actually a playlist. If you're interested, there's a playlist on the channel called Modern Portfolio Theory. And you can see,
Yeah, so it seems like $1,000 right now. This is going to bring plenty of crypto investors as well. So here's what he says. Portfolio is 83% Bitcoin and 16% Ethereum.
65% annualized. Now that might seem crazy, right? That might seem crazy. If you go over to the Bitcoin chart, you look at just 12-month candles, you can kind of see what I'm talking about, right? So
we went literally from 2013 in 10 years, 12 years, we went to 118K. Again, nobody can give 65% returns except Bitcoin.
2023, 155%. Last year, 121%, right? This year has been 27% so far. So you can see how, on average, it might end up being about that, especially if you factor in a bear market year, right?
Yeah, so even on bear markets, Bitcoin still decided to give returns every 4 years. Same with XRP. If you hold for 12 years, again, you would be 300x. I don't know any other crypto that if you hold 10 years, it goes 300x up.
1 year, you're down 65%. And then the next 3, you're up between 27 and 155%. Then on average, it kind of makes sense. All right, about 60 to 65% annualized return. Noting.
So 60 to 65% return in crypto when literally XRP went up what? It went up at least 300% in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm guessing I'm going to go on safe play here and say last 2 months has been absolutely exploding.
That some years you're going to get cooked, more than likely, right? You're going to get cooked because the markets are going to go down approximately every 4 years. Now, how do we come up with a weight? Well, there's this formula called the Sharpe ratio. Now, the Sharpe ratio is the return of a portfolio, RP, minus the risk-free rate, RF, divided by the standard deviation of the portfolio's excess return. What the hell does that mean? Right? Well, the return that we're looking at in this case is based on
return of portfolio risk-free rate standard deviation of the portfolio's excess return. So most people want to know if they should invest like $1,000 in crypto. That's what most people are asking me right now. But Ben actually goes into detail on how this works. So he's calling the bottoms over here, and basically over here, he's calling the bottom for Bitcoin ETH ratio. So I feel like, Ethereum and retail investors are just about to get back. That is why I keep making these videos, because right now what we are seeing is more and more retail coming back at an all-time high.
Again, right? Doesn't mean it can't do that. It probably will. It could go up, it could come back down, right? It could do something like this. But in this case, this whole idea has worked out incredibly well. So now, I would argue, ever since ETH went home, taking on more risk with it has worked out.
So yeah, most people who are right now, going for all ETH are going to be expecting return. It seems like Ethereum and XRP, like Ethereum and Bitcoin are the winner right now. But, what I don't suggest is like holding, again, not financial advice, holding random coins. But you can see here that people who are going strong right now are basically XRP, Bitcoin, and it's not Solana, it's BNB. It's like maybe 4 or 5 coins that really explode, and all the others are still waiting to pump. So everything else, we're still waiting for a major pump or like a major different reach. So here you can actually see these have pumped, right? And XRP is one that no analyst could have predicted, because what happened with XRP is literally after the election, after the lawsuit, it went from like 20 cents to 50 cents to $3. And it's very, very hard to predict that. That's what caught everyone off guard.
Buy it. You see these massive candles? These candles to the downside significantly impact the risk-adjusted returns, because you know that at some point you might just see XRP drop 70 to 80% against Bitcoin, and that's what.
So yeah, he's calling about XRP, holding XRP, and why most people don't hold XRP. Look, he's actually made a graph on investing on XRP coins, and this is what he said.
It only suggests single digits for that cryptocurrency. Because yes, it's done well recently, but this is not just based on what it's done this year. It's based on what it's done every year since 2015.
So every single year, XRP has actually pumped compared to Bitcoin.
In this case. And if you look at like monthly candles for the XRP Bitcoin ratio, you'll see that like, look at these massive red candles. Buy it. You see these massive candles? These candles to the downside significantly impact the risk-adjusted returns, because you know that at some point you might just see XRP drop 70 to 80% against Bitcoin, and that's what's leading to it to be sort of a lower amount. So in this case, you might notice that this chart looks a lot different than just with Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's because it's three-dimensional now, right? In terms of the number of assets. Now you're looking at 3 of them, and the sort of this line up here, this is the efficient frontier. The red line down here, you don't want to be down here. Why don't?
So yeah, 50%. He's saying that basically anyone holding XRP is gonna be in bad words. So he's saying that holding Bitcoin, like everything Bitcoin, is good, but everything like holding not Bitcoin is bad.
Down here, you don't want to be down here. Why don't you want to be on the lower part of the chart? Because in this case, you're taking on the same volatility as someone up here, but this person has a much higher expected return than you do. Right? You see the difference? You want to be on the efficient frontier, which is this line up here. This is called.
So yeah, he's saying here that it's better to hold, like not everything XRP. Because potentially if XRP drops, like as it has historically, the thing is with XRP is what I'm worried, we never saw XRP's prices before the lawsuit. So all we saw XRP's prices after the lawsuit. So all we saw is XRP prices before the lawsuit, right?
All right, in terms of the number of assets, this is what maximizes your risk-adjusted returns, right? How do you know? It looks like you ran 50,000 simulations, but what if you ran 100,000 or 1 million? Would it change? And you're right, a Monte Carlo simulation does have its drawbacks, because you always wonder, had you run 50,000 more, would you get different results? Fortunately, in mathematics, we have other tools that we can use, in this case, quadratic programming. And by using quadratic programming, it allows us to identically solve for things like the Sharpe ratio to really be in there.
So he's saying here, modern portfolio theory, Bitcoin, ETH, USD. So people holding USD, he's saying it's best to hold 61% of Bitcoin, 12% of ETH, and 28% of USD. So this portfolio he has is actually that he shouldn't hold any XRP in that sense. It's worrying.
Well-known people have done this recently. I won't mention any names, but they'll shill XRP or Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever it is, right? They'll shill it at a very high level, right? They'll be like, all right, buy Ethereum or buy Bitcoin or buy XRP, and then the market will drop. And they will have said nothing about having any cash at the highs, but then they'll bull post the entire way down, And then when it's back up here, then they'll say, see, I told you I was right, right? But the
So yeah, does seem like these spikes that we see with XRP are completely normal.
problem is, had you listened to their view, you would have already been all in right here at 4K for Ethereum. So when it went home, you would have had nothing to buy it with, you know? And so what ends up happening, I've seen this happen so many times, right? Someone will be bullish on it way up here. They'll be bullish on it. They'll mention nothing about having any cash whatsoever, right? They'll just say cash is trash, don't have it. Then it'll drop 65%, and then they'll say they're buying. And I want to say, with what? With what?
Yeah, so don't buy your XRP basically at the top is what he's saying. Like a lot of people get their XRP at 3.5. The thing is we already always see like the big top.
If you were already 100% allocated over here, what are you buying it with down here? And that's the problem with, you know, a lot of influencers is that there's no accountability, right? Like they won't ever mention the idea of, hey, it might be a wise idea to have some cash in case this outcome plays out. And then they give me a lot of flack for it because I'm willing to say, look, Ethereum's going to go home.
So yeah, right now we never expected this to, like this was 2025, right? But we never expected these price crashes of 2022, 2023. Like nobody like some analysts predicted that and some whales, but most people, like most retail investors, did not realize we are going to be seeing Ethereum at $1,000.
And then I'll give a range and I'll say, all right, it'll probably bottom between 1,200 and 1,500. That is what I said. And then I put out a video when it went below 1,600 and I said I was buying, right? I said, this is good enough for me. It's like you ran.
So yeah, his scenario here is saying not to hold any XRP because while you will get same returns for much more risk. That is what he's saying. So if you hold 90% XRP, again, he said historically, but I'm willing to bet that this could potentially change, I'm hoping. So that is where it's really going to be big. Simulation. To find the best risk-adjusted Sharp portfolio, each represents a portfolio made with certain coins composition. An expected return of 1.0 means a return of 100% annually. So if you were 90% XRP, again, this was during the lawsuit times, during the 9 years, you would have made still a 60% return. The Sharp ratio is a ratio of expected return volatility, the highest Sharp ratio for a given composition, therefore, given the chart, expected return for least amount of volatility. So yeah. I feel like the thing with XRP, it's very hard to be grasped in how bad that lawsuit was from the SEC. I think he's biased towards XRP. Yeah, that's the thing. He did call that XRP will never go up historically, like based off the chart. So I know it's very hard to understand some people who are watching here because this is like going deep into analytics. This is not just another, video. Hello. It's not just another simple video. It's very in-depth on what he does. And he's a very smart person. He was a quantum trader, Benjamin Cohen. But here's where I feel like that, XRP could give potential returns because this is the key factor. So of course there's like growth from just, looking at the markets, right? From market side. But then you have news growth. Then you have partnership growths. Retail investors flocked 2021 for Ethereum. That's why it went up so much. But 2025, with the banks coming in, this could make the real returns. And anyway, even if you are mostly XRP, mostly holding XRP, he's still saying you will be making 62% historically. Now, it will probably be way less. He's saying here that you would make way less if you hold Bitcoin. Now, if you hold 80% Ethereum, it's way riskier, right? But you still get like great returns. So like if you hold 90% XRP, you still made 62% a year. Much more risk, but still 62% is 62%. So that's the most important factor. Yeah, this is the least risk holding Bitcoin. It's the safest option. That's why institutions are buying it. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. But at some point, I feel like a lot of these institutions will buy XRP Right now they are going for Bitcoin because it's the safest buy. Again, in a few months or years, with banks, partnerships, XRP will get more stable, or it already is more stable. This 1 to 2 years, it might be the big change. So, $1,000 is very hard to check where to put it, but he's making a very clear example, saying if you put 90% ETH, it's going to be way more crazy, right? It's going to go one down, and it's going to give expected returns much differently in that sense.
Well, we don't have really that many in there because, we just don't have a lot of data for a lot of newer altcoins. It's just not as useful, because if an altcoin launched a month ago and it's only gone up since then, and you're going to compare it to Bitcoin, then it's gonna make everything look out of whack, because it's not going to know. It's been around for a while, and it's been in like the top 5, top 10 for a really, really long time. So whether you like it or not, is that it has been around
What's he saying about
for
XRP?
a longer period of time, and that's why you can use something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even XRP. And I know there's a lot.
So yeah, look, he did mention XRP. So I wonder what he mentioned about XRP here, and I'm also focused on Ethereum.
Altcoin launched a month ago, and it's only gone up since then.
So yeah, we do have data. The problem is we need it. Ethereum is controlled by China. XRP should have a real good home in the US. That's a very good point. That's an amazing point. But anyone can start a new blockchain. The thing is, XRP needed like 12 years to do that type of blockchain, right? It's very hard to have a blockchain and the partnerships. It takes 12 years. You have to build basically ICO 20,000 or 200,000, 22, 222, whatever it was. And then you have to build all these partnerships with the banks as well. You can be a competitor to Ethereum. That's what HBAR is. That's what XLM is. But when you build a blockchain, it's going to cost you a lot of money. You will need some partnerships, because if nobody's using your blockchain, look at Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu launched its own blockchain and everybody forgot about it. They spent millions of dollars, and because they have no people knowing how to use that blockchain, literally everyone switched to XRP, right? So you need big people that will probably pump money of these blockchains. And there is data, to back this up.
And you're going to compare it to Bitcoin, then it's gonna make everything look out of whack, because it's not going to know what the potential downside is for that altcoin if it hasn't yet gone through a bear market. So that's why you have to only use assets that have been around for a longer period of time, and that's why you can use something like Bitcoin.
So yeah, I feel like the markets right now are still not gonna. You can check the past, but the issue is with this new crypto regulation, we are going to throw away everything that we've seen in the past, and we're going to bring in the new. Before, US was really bearish on anything crypto. And this completely changes the crypto narrative we see now, right? This completely changes what people feel about XRP, because I remember I was bearish on XRP with the lawsuit. So that's why, so imagine, like, if people were not bearish, do you think whales would not buy at 30 cents? No, it was 20 cents. Nobody wanted it. It was 30 cents. Nobody wanted it. What happened? It dropped down to 12 cents. And that's when people started buying. So that's the very important factor. Immediately, the same day Trump got into office, immediately, XRP pumped 20-30%. Again, does this not tell you something? If a crypto coin on an inauguration day pumps 20-30%, this to me tells that institutions are buying, because they realize that Trump for the next 4 years is going to look very good for crypto. So yeah, it is looking like this market trends we see right now, they're a good indicator that Bitcoin is always going to win, but there's going to be plenty of other cryptos that will win. Basically, it's not just Bitcoin at this point. The entire history is going to change. So I'm really excited for that. Even at $3, people would love $3 3 years ago, and now we're talking about price crashes. Imagine if you told someone for XRP 3 years ago. So XRP coin, how much was it 3 years ago? Let's check. So literally 3 years ago, which was 2021, was $1 max, right? But it was 32 cents. It was low as 32 cents. And if you told someone that in 3 years, XRP is going to pump, even at like 50 cents, it's going to pump to like $3. Again, this would be free money for them, but nobody realized what can happen. And here's where crypto can really win in that sense is, it can provide you something that you cannot see in the stock market, because stocks are very simple. They're very basic. Yes, you can have NVIDIA pump because it makes a huge partnership, or people like retail starts buying in, or like there's no other chips. But the thing is, in crypto, this can be like 100 times more chaos, right?
Holy smokus, it ain't no jokest. Trump just...
So yeah, Trump said this, and Fed was pretty much in issues. But right now, there's a lot of uncertainty if the crypto stuff will pass the Senate.
warned, do this now. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. We're going to talk about the crypto market, about XRP, about Bitcoin, about the lack of movement today, or some
like sometimes markets not moving is completely fine too.
Movement, but lack of movement in general that is being facilitated by Bitcoin. We'll talk about the signals for the peak of the bull market. Can you make a guess how many of those have we hit so far? Right? Pause the video. Let me know in the comment section before we continue. All right. And we'll talk about an interesting thing that Tether did, that last time they did this, the market rallied. Could this be another signal of a rally? And we'll talk about what Trump did to the Fed. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that with Bitcoin.
Again, this is just a small part of Bitcoin that is dropping. It is not that bad. But when you look at bull market indicators, again, lowest unemployment in the world. So literally people can go to any restaurant and find a job, which means they can pump the crypto markets, right? Which means there is food on the table. 2022, everybody lost their job. 2008, everybody lost their job. But now we're seeing 2022 and everybody's making easy money. You can find a job basically anywhere at this point. It might not be a good job, but it's going to pay out. And here's where, crypto will really win.
Indicators that basically tell us the progress of the bull market and when is usually the top. None of them have hit 100% yet. So, I mean, maybe these are wrong, but most of them hit in previous cycles and none of them have hit yet. So it's high probability that we're not at the peak, right?
I feel like once the regulatory clarity comes in, again, this is going to be in some time. It's not going to be instant. It could be even a few days after it gets passed in the Senate. I definitely think it will, because Trump basically wants it to get passed and he's been pressing about it. If the president is pressing about this, how important it is, it's probably pretty important, right? So we are going to be waiting for all these big retail investors to come in and all these, new traders, people finding about crypto. Because again, XRP is only owned by 0.02% of the world. There's still a massive potential of people that could invest or buy crypto coins that never found out, that don't understand what they are or how they work.
But again, there could always be pullback.
Like a lot of people don't even have stock accounts, and that's the real issue. Is crypto is out there. It just has not been discovered yet.
Along the way. When we saw 2017 and 2021, there were 20-30% pullbacks inside the run-ups.
And usually what I saw in 2021 is exactly during summer. It was actually June or July is when we saw these price drops, right? When we saw the prices go down.
So we'll see. And we'll see how it plays out. Okay, very, very important. You might, say, oh, Avi looks a little bit less excited than usual. I think I got dehydrated today. I just took, some to make my headache go away. So that's the reason why I'm not depressed on the market or something like that. I was out with the fam and I guess I didn't drink enough. Happens sometimes in the summer. So again,
Tether just minted 2 billion USDT. So again, this could be a big company that could be buying into crypto right now, that is just gonna get started and buy a very big supply of all the cryptocurrencies that are left.
This doesn't mean that this is going to happen, but these are things that I've seen before that happened before run-ups. So I'm just saying, again, maybe we pull back, if we're looking at the indicators and all that, it looks that like a pullback could be a possibility. Although Bitcoin has creeped down to the bottom, almost to the bottom of the stochastic RSI on the weekly, on the daily, and it continues to build pressure up in this bullish pennant. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, I don't know. I'm not a prophet. Anybody that tells you XRP.
Yeah, so nobody knows if I feel like XRP, again, not financial advice, could go down a bit further. Don't know how much further. Maybe like, you know, below $3. I don't think it's going to go below $2 because, again, a lot of these institutions are already buying it at $3 right now. So what we saw in the last few days is nobody wanted to buy it at $3.50. Well, some people were buying it, but not enough. So someone decided to sell everything, right? This is what really happened. And they sold everything. Now they're deciding, $3.50. Nobody wants to buy for $3.50. Let's try $3.20. Let's try $3.10. And at some point, there is going to be people who are going to be saying, okay, now I can buy anything I want. And I'm going to buy all of it, right? The only thing is, where's this like bottom going to be? Where is the whale going to decide? This we don't know. Maybe the whale has a price in mind or some sort of technical data where he will decide that the price will pump for him.
He's going to 1,000, 10,000, 1 gazillion. They don't know. It's speculation. Again, any investing is speculation. You're speculating that it's going to go up or down in value. Is stock market, crypto, real estate, you're always speculating at higher or lower degree, right? With real estate, you have, you know, other factors. You can
like real estate is way safer, but you're not going to see 900% up in real estate.
Rent it out, but you know, sometimes an area just tanks and things happen. Stocks, of course, stocks can go down the same way they can go up. And so can crypto. Just crypto is historically a lot more volatile than the other two. So that's, again, something that we need to take into consideration. Now, something that could, again, shock the market in the short term is what the Fed does. And President Trump can affect the crypto market. President Trump went to see the new Fed building that they are building and figure out why they're spending almost $2 billion there. And there's a longer version.
So I saw this, like right now there's a huge fight. And again, this is probably also messing up the markets.
Like, come on now, lower interest.
Are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than that, what can I tell you?
You just,
so yeah,
you hit him. He's like, come on now, lower interest rates, come on.
But Jerome Powell is not budging. He's not budging at all. You know, he doesn't want to sell, not at all. Or he doesn't want to lower them. So we will see what happens. I don't know. I don't think he will leave. I feel like people are calling him to leave, but he hasn't done much wrong. Again, this you know, renovating old buildings, building garage is very expensive. It costs $2.5 billion. But I feel like the U.S. spends a lot of money on different stuff. They probably spent over $2 billion on crypto. Renovating this building is not going to be that expensive, you know, to set USA back. So I'm really, really wondering, is Jerome Powell going to lower the interest rates? Now that's the question. Will he succumb to Donald Trump's pressure, or will he double down and say no cuts? Because this is going to be the big deal that's going to really change the market.
Had a long way to go. Would have been much better if it never started, but it is what it is, and hopefully it will be finished ASAP. The cost overruns are essential, but on the positive side, our country is doing very well and can afford just about anything, even the cost of this building. I'll be watching and hopefully adding some expertise. As everyone knows, I renovated the old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue, and it was a roaring success. The total construction cost was a small fraction of the Fed building costs, and it is many times the size. With all of that being said, let's just get it.
Look at the last part, lower interest rates. That's a lot of pressure coming from United States president, right? So I feel like if we get lower interest rates, if he's going to lower the interest rates, it's going to be a very, very low cut. But that cut can really be like the push for rock of crypto.
And even more importantly, lower interest rates. So, of course, the president wants lower interest rates. Historically, lower interest rates could mean rally in the markets, and that looks good on his resume. That potentially will save the U.S. money.
Again, this could create a recession as well in like 2 to 3 years. That's why Jerome Powell doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to like basically destroy the stock market because he's been there in 2011, 2008. He made a lot of reforms on how to stop it.
But it could also cause inflation to start rising back up again.
And again, right now we're in really good position in the economy. Do we really need to pump the markets even more? So the question for Jerome Powell is tough.
Right? People taking out cheap money, buying stuff, and that pushes up inflation. So it's a very slippery slope, and we'll see what the Fed decides to do next week. It seems that the probabilities are still no reduction, but who knows, you know?
Like anything could change. You never know politics. Like nobody was expecting crypto to pump, and yet in 1-2 days, bam, immediately pumps up, right? So there is another thing. Everyone is wrong about this cycle. Everybody is wrong about this cycle for XRP because XRP has been exploding.
It has legs.
And this is another reason why I'm bullish on it. These billionaires are still calling on the pumps.
I think the 200 to 250,000 for Bitcoin still makes sense because that would still only value it at
250,000 for Bitcoin is a lot of money. And potentially we're going to be seeing XRP blowing to $15, $20, $25, $30 if this happens with all these major partnerships. Also, be sure to smash that like button as we delve deeper on what exactly makes XRP grow so much, what makes it explode in that sense, and why I feel like it will explode even more.
25% of the size of the gold market. So I think digital gold means Bitcoin should be worth over $1 million per Bitcoin. And
so yeah, it literally tries to overtake gold, and XRP is going to be like the financing system helper.
It could happen in the next few years, but maybe pricing 25% of that, especially with Genius Act, makes sense. I mean, in a sense, stablecoins are the ChatGPT moment for crypto because businesses like it and consumers are adopting it. And now we see JP Morgan and Citi and getting into the stablecoin market, and the Genius Act, of course.
How would you play that?
Well, Circle is one way because it is a standout company. They've done really well. But Ethereum...
So yeah, a lot of companies are joining in. Again, seems like that now more banks are joining the top 5 cryptos. And what is that? Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. XRP being on a third spot right behind USDT, which has been getting regulated more and more. So in the future, XRP now has enough data and enough partnerships to really see it grow.
Ethereum is really the way to play stablecoins because the majority of stablecoins are created on Ethereum. It's over 30% of its network fee.
So yeah, this is where I think Ethereum wins because it does have more partnerships. And most of these stablecoins, again, are the future. They're being used by the banks.
And if Scott Bessent's right in it, he says now it's close to a $4 trillion market. That's exponential growth.
As investors prepare for a bullish July and August, Raoul Pal and Tom Lee affirm that Bitcoin and crypto prices are about to go parabolic, as we continue to see more all-time highs. As this momentum is building, the institutions are quietly positioning themselves. Pal and Lee say everything is about to change. Bitcoin is sitting just above 117,300, up over 14% in the past month. With the next bull market, and with crypto and technology being the biggest investments this year, Raoul Pal and Tom Lee remain bullish on digital assets and give a portfolio update, identifying the crypto assets poised for substantial growth in the coming months. With major pension funds and institutional investors on board for the coming cycle, Raoul Pal predicts that crypto is on track to be a $10 trillion digital asset class. Pal says that this cycle will separate itself from its predecessors, as devalued fiat currencies will push more adoption into the crypto market and bring in more capital than we've ever seen before. Let's get right into the interview with Raoul Pal and Tom Lee, as they give their market predictions for the days and weeks ahead. Drop your
So yeah, it seems like Ethereum is going to cover a sector, and then XRP is going to cover its own sector as well. So it's not like it needs to push out XRP to win, right?
One is
It can work on its own.
technology, and the other is crypto. My whole big thesis has been the only way to capture returns in this world of indebted economies with aging populations is to find the assets that are in a secular trend. And there's actually not that many. In fact, the ones that are really in a secular trend, part of what I refer to as the exponential age. So this is something that is going to be the fastest pace of change of technology and probably the fabric of society and how economies are structured in all of humanity in the shortest period of time. The exponential age is that moment when multiple technologies that were all enabled essentially by the internet all layer on top of each other and go to mass adoption phase all at the same time. Crypto was the first of these technologies. If you also think that mobile phone was the other technology that built on top of the internet and fiber optic cables,
So yeah, basically XRP is going to be the new technology which speeds up. What is the most important factor that is the most expensive thing you can sell? Your time, right? And when you send these transfers, it takes you time to send transactions. And XRP is trying to basically work that up and make these transactions zero cost, fast-based. So you won't have any issues sending your money to relatives.
led to the rise of crypto.
That's the thing. You want to send, $10,000, you can do it instantly without issues. You want to send salaries, you can do that. Everything is going to be digitalized. And you want to, there's still companies that pay cash on hand, and it can potentially make a lot of human error. Basically, being on the blockchain is a lot of contracts. You can see who you paid, what you paid, when you paid, and governments love to track that stuff, but also businesses, because they can see if there's any error made by the accounting team. XRP will not be that. As long as you put a number, it's going to come there every single month.
All of these things are going to experience Metcalfe's law.
That's why banks are pushing for stablecoins.
Roughly at the same time. Some will be later, like quantum. I didn't know what was going to come first. EV is another one. And when you put Metcalfe's laws that are all intermingled with each other, because they all build on top of each other, you get something called Reed's law. Reed's law is essentially Metcalfe's law squared. If Metcalfe's law you need a logarithmic chart for, Reed's law is preposterous because it makes weeks. And by the time Microsoft roll it out across all of their Office suite of products, etc., it'll be 1 billion users kind of by Q1 next year. It's an extraordinary change. And then the technology itself is exponential in its improvements. And so within that, we're also seeing robotics starting to go exponential. We're seeing Amazon.
AI is the next big thing, but again, there's so much more than AI right now. AI is just a tool. With that being said, it seems like the new technology is basically something that can be automated, which is exactly what XRP does, right?
Hiring more robots as productive economic units than they are hiring humans now. We're seeing all across the world changes. We're seeing EV cars outselling traditional cars. We're seeing a huge amount of capital pouring into changing sources of energy. So we're in this extraordinary period of change. It's the most exciting period in human history. We're kind of lucky to be alive, but it's also terrifying.
Raul says it's the fastest pace of adoption of any investable asset in all of human history. By the end of 2025, there will be 1.1 billion active crypto wallets. The pace of growth is hard to comprehend, and it will be the fastest accumulation of wealth we have ever seen. This is the conclusion of a career's worth of research. And every single chart and piece of research leads to the same conclusion. Liquidity drives everything, and crypto will be the best performing asset of them all. Raul has been stressing to investors for months that all the factors are beginning to align right now, a period characterized by parabolic moves upwards in crypto prices.
And what makes it more exciting is we are in both macro spring and crypto spring.
This is what he's saying right now, crypto spring. So right now there's lots of money on the market. With lots of money on the market, where do you put this money? Into crypto, which is booming, right? It's a win-win. You get lots of money because we are seeing a macro spring, everything rising, and you want to see an extra boom. You're getting more and more money. You don't know where to put it. You put it into crypto. You put it into stocks. And that's exactly what's made XRP pump so much.
Get final week GDP numbers into this quarter and next quarter. But the forward-looking stuff says we're going to come through the other side sooner rather than later. While inflation, etc., still keeps declining and unemployment probably ticks up. But crypto markets are forward-looking, much like technology stocks are, because these are secular trends and they're long-term growth stories. And those markets bottomed with global liquidity back in last year. ETH was first in June 2022, followed by much of the rest of the larger crypto tokens, although some are still relatively weak today. That period from then on is what's referred to as crypto spring. It's kind of a choppy period, but you tend to get decent price rises when you look back and think, God, that was a painful.
So yeah, nobody can even compete to 300% rises at this point.
Yeah, but then you look back and you're like, wow, okay. And we see that Bitcoin's up over 100%.
Literally, XRP outperformed Bitcoin, right?
In crypto spring, Solana's up 220%, ETH's up about 50%. So it's been pretty positive. And the forward-looking indicators of liquidity, which is the key driver of all of this, are all pointing up. That as the Fed back off rate rises, the ECB back off rate rises, the next phase we're starting to see Japan, China has started stimulating again. We will likely see the Japanese do something in terms of yield curve control or weakening the yen. The Europeans have made it pretty clear that they've stopped raising rates now. The Bank of England have stopped raising rates, and I think the Fed have stopped raising rates. So the probabilistic outcome is by next year, the rates start coming down again as inflation starts coming down and the forward-looking inflation indicators are coming down. So what you've got is a backdrop for crypto to do really well, which coincides with the Bitcoin halving, which coincides with the macro cycle, the everything code, where everybody reset interest rates in 2008 at 0%. They kind of meant that nobody had to pay their interest payments. And then what we've had, everybody reset their debts between 3 and 5 years, every major government, and that rolling of debts every 4 years coincides with the Bitcoin halving, is the global economic cycle. It corresponds with the ISM, it corresponds with crypto price action, corresponds with equity price action, all of these things. It's also the same as the election cycle. They're all one big cycle now, and we're at the point in the cycle where assets tend to do really well. So I'm very excited on a forward-looking basis, and I have been excited and been very long crypto all year, and tech. Tech's had an amazing year. Our exponential age basket from Global Macro Investors up 50% this year as well. So technology's had a really stunningly good year. I still think it ends the rest of the year stronger, that this has just been a corrective, cheeky 10% correction, shake out the weak holders as we move forward as liquidity rises. So I'm looking forward to a real exponential age 2 years ahead, 2024, 2025, where we see both technology stocks and we see crypto really doing well. And crypto is usually the fastest horse in the race.
So yeah, nothing gives as good returns as crypto right now. It's literally crypto being the number one. And again, people are expecting this next rally of new money to come in. And as more and more crypto rises, you basically get more people in. It's like a spiral, right? So crypto markets rise, people come back to crypto because they see crypto markets go up, like XRP. People have already downloaded exchange apps and started adding more of them. So what we are seeing right now is crypto getting stronger and stronger, and it's going to generate this cycle of where it slowly pushes XRP to hopefully $5, right?
It's this view, pointing to a dip then rip pattern, where sharp pullbacks are typically followed by massive rallies, up to 190% gains historically. Both argue that patience, not panic, is key. The banana zone is alive, just misunderstood. As the momentum in the crypto market is building and institutions are positioning themselves, Raoul Pal says everything is about to change. He says the next phase of the crypto cycle is critical, and he's stacking big bets in his portfolio right now. With the next bull market, and with crypto and technology being the biggest investments this year, Raoul Pal says that he's remaining bullish on digital assets after significant...
Again, if the banks are going big on crypto right now, like stable coins, and they're going big on everything possibly they can regarding crypto, and they're preparing, and literally Bank of America doing 83 Ripple patents, which cost multi-millions of dollars. They are prepared for the technology that comes with it. Just imagine in the last 4 years how much the technology has risen. Probably basically years and years, light years ahead than it was 4 years ago, right? And now the government is finally getting ready to say what XRP is. Is it a security or not? This is where it really gives that full boost.
Bitcoin is one that is headed for an unprecedented price milestone, and Raul foresees a financial tidal wave that will catapult cryptocurrency to new highs. Raul Pal says the crypto world is on the brink of something massive, a seismic shift for Bitcoin and crypto in what he calls the banana zone. As the momentum is building and the institutions are quietly positioning themselves, Raul says everything is about to change. He recently shared his take on the current economic uncertainty, with tariffs and recession fears creating market volatility, that a major market rally is on the horizon. And that's where Bitcoin comes in. Bitcoin has been trading more like a risk asset lately, meaning if the market recovers, Bitcoin is expected to surge alongside it. But the uncertainty is key here. If the market remains stuck in limbo, Bitcoin could face short-term pressure.
But literally, the markets are not stuck in limbo. We're seeing either the markets go insanely up or we're seeing them go insanely down. So this is the concern that people have, with crypto right now, is that it's not going to move. But the markets have been moving so strong, so fast, that we have never seen this type of volume before for, XRP, for Bitcoin. We've never seen people talk about so much about XRP. And this is the power of community, is literally people are forming communities around the world to talk about it before the technology is even announced. So yeah, there is a very good chance that right now, crypto is just getting started. Again, you already have people talking about it without the retail investors even being fully in. And we are getting like 3 million, 5 million different people when only 0.02% of people own XRP. So there's a major, major potential of people joining in. Again, I feel like it's a very under-tapped niche. Yes, it was much easier to get in 2016, 2021. In crypto, it was 10 times easier, right? But still now, to this day, people who stuck with crypto, they are still getting rewarded, right? So it literally rewards patience. That is what I love about cryptocurrency. People are rewarded with patience if they wait a long time to basically win in that sector. So people who wait 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, who don't sell, again, I'm not telling you not to sell, but it definitely seems like that crypto right now, the people who were here 2021 and then are gone after 1 year when the money stops pouring in, and the people who kept, DCAing, buying, this was in the past, 2023, 2022, they kept buying when everybody left already. They kept talking about XRP when nobody was. So it is definitely something like first time in history, and it seems like everybody who held through 1 cent, 5 cents, 10 cents XRP are now getting rewarded for it by becoming multimillionaires or whatever they are. Depends how much XRP they hold. Let's do another video on Shiba Inu. So there is another one that I am worried about, Shiba Inu. We haven't been hearing much about SHIB. But SHIB is always going to be in my heart because it still has a small community. Doesn't have big as XRP. But I love watching Luxite Crypto and giving my thoughts on it. I've been making SHIB content for 4 years, if you guys don't know. So that's another thing that I know a lot about SHIB. 4 years of content every single day. Well, basically like 6 months every single day talking about it.
SHIB is showing a lot of signs right now.
So yeah, we talked about last time on our show about 11 trillion whale purchase. So what is Shiba Inu going to bring in today? Are there more whales? Because these whales have moved on. They moved on to XRP.
That it may be ready for a 100% plus rally to the upside. Now, obviously, there's no guarantees. Nobody knows what's going to happen for sure. But this shakeout that we saw in the market didn't really have the effect on SHIB that some might think it did. And in fact, in looking back at this chart for Shiba Inu, we are...
The issue with SHIB, it's not even at all-time highs. That's why it's not moving. There's not nearly enough activity for the whales to be coming back and trade it, right? Because if you want to get a lot of whales and traders, you need a lot of volume so whales can join in. So the markets go up, down, left, right. So as the candles get bigger, that's why most whales trade on for XRP, because the candles move so fast, you can do day trading there. But for SHIB, it's getting harder and harder.
Are just a mere few percentage points away from something that has historically led us on these significant runs. And I want to talk about that with you guys. So if you are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell, it's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So I am filming this earlier on in the morning, so we'll see where things progress as the day moves on.
So yeah, look at this, like SHIB support levels, it's literally still half where it was early this year. This is the thing, all YouTubers have left SHIB at this point. They still haven't gotten back to it.
I care less about the charts today price-wise and more about where SHIB is headed on a bigger move. And I want to show you guys this first.
Like, crypto is up, but then you have to search what the Shiba Inu trending charts are.
Market, we're actually still seeing incredibly high crypto search traffic. That is a great sign. So although they shook some retail, they didn't necessarily shake the total retail optics. When I looked at exchange app downloads, we still see Coinbase in the top 200 app downloads, but that's the only one right now. So they shook a little bit of the tree there. But something I wanted to mention here as well in terms of Shiba Inu is although we did see this reduction in price, you didn't see a reduction in holders. In fact, we just set a new all-time high of 1.527 million holders. So throughout these past several weeks, including the red days, we have been gaining and gaining and gaining. And like we talked about earlier today, whales have been adding and adding and adding. And it seems like we're building to this point where SHIB has an opportunity to just kind of blow the lid here. And really, there is a chart that is showing exactly.
So that's for whole crypto. That's the point. This is for whole crypto, but SHIB has not been gaining anywhere near that momentum. It has not been growing anything near where it's supposed to be to like reach all-time high again. The first time it happened that is when Vitalik sent half of it to a burn wallet and sold, you know, like lots of it. When he sold some of it for charity and burned the other half, that's when people started like that rally. But here, if we want to see this happen with SHIB, like SHIB getting this 100% rally, when will SHIB go back up? We need to see a lot of these factors that the Shiba Inu has to work very hard on it. There's literally thousands and thousands of things that, you know, competitors are now doing. How are you going to compete with XRP, one of the biggest, basically working with banks? It's going to be very hard. And I don't blame SHIB. It's just that meme coins got so competitive in the past 5 years.
To the upside. What did it do in 2024? We obviously know SHIB ran 4.5x over the course of just 7 days.
4.5x is definitely nice. Like, it's still very, very nice. And there is small rallies. Like SHIB did rally, but it did not rally to its all-time highs.
So we're now getting to this point where actually SHIB dominance is on almost the full reset. In fact, in looking at this chart, guys, that's the wrong chart. And looking at this chart here, you guys can see currently where we're at is only about, gosh, 3-4% away in terms of SHIB dominance to where historically it's had a major bounce. And at that,
so that's a pretty good point. That's why I feel like the big whale bought SHIB. Like, he bought a very, very big SHIB amount. I think he bought $100 million.
At that same time, we're seeing really good fundamentals take place. Could this be the moment where SHIB once again does?
I feel like, you know, it could bounce from there. So, you know, it bounces with other markets. But will it bounce back to all-time highs? Will the price stay that way? That is the big question. Can it actually stay for many years where people will keep talking about it, buying it, seeing all the technology? That is what I'm worried about.
A 100% plus rally to the upside. I will mention that compared to both those times, significantly less Shiba Inu available in the crypto market. Exchange supply has been depleted by over 80 trillion SHIB in that time. And guys, there are still more people that are just continuing to accumulate and hoard supply. Something I wanted to show here as well is, you know, are we going to actually get a bottoming on our trend here before SHIB goes on a significant rally to the upside. This is actually SHIB dominance. That was the SHIB ETH chart, sorry. So on SHIB dominance, right, we talked about it, a possible rejection at this 100-day moving average. This is exactly what we did several times here. This is exactly what we got. SHIB is maybe targeting the bottom of its trend.
So you can actually see SHIB has a market dominance or market cap SHIB dominance way, way lower. Each time it gets way, way lower because there's more and more competition. So yeah, this is something, look, it tries to go up again and then goes way back down. Tries to go up again and goes way back down, right? So every time it tries to do a rally, we see these price drops happen, which is an issue for SHIB, but I still believe it can recover. I feel like there's gonna be, you know, things that always make SHIB number one, that make Dogecoin number one compared to other coins. So yeah, what do you guys think? I'll keep you guys updated. I am ending my stream a bit earlier today because I need to catch some rest, edit some videos. I really appreciate y'all. I just posted a new video live for XRP. If anybody's interested, here is the new video for XRP that I have just posted. So check it out. Check my other content. Really appreciate you, everyone. And I will see you soon. Love you all as always. Stay safe. I have plenty of work to do after this. And tomorrow is going to be probably a longer stream because I did only 2 hours today. Should have done